By the way, why are we wearing bras on our heads? Ceremonial.
Welcome to the inaugural episode of The Greatest Image on the Internet, a series of micro video essays where I pedantically analyze something that probably doesn't need to be talked about all that much. After all, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And you know what? I'm in my most fancy tank top for the day, and you know what? I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty sophisticated. So let's get into one of my favorite images ever, a very philosophical one, if you will.
Everything that we know and love is reducible to the absurd acts of chemicals, and there is therefore no intrinsic value in this material universe.
Hypocrite that you are, for you trust the chemicals in your brain to tell you they are chemicals. All knowledge is ultimately based on that which we cannot prove. Will you fight, or will you perish like a dog?
The argument over how to deal with existential anxiety is amplified by the fact it's Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse having this conversation. The absurdity of this image supersedes any yearning to know what inspired it. The more I look at it and try to understand this image, I start to realize that the creator utilized the expressions of the characters to illustrate the argument poignantly. Like the truisms from Mickey, my last sentence sounds really redundant, but the characters are expressive, even if the original is edited to have uncharacteristic text. What makes this surprising is how well it works with the argument. Donald's argument is that of reductio ad absurdum, or reduction to absurdity.
Fancy Latin, fancy Latin.
Donald asserts that human knowledge, emotions, and experiences are all just reducible to acknowledging that they are just chemicals and neurons firing off in our brain. Donald's line of logic when confronting existential anxiety is nihilism. Acknowledging that there is no intrinsic value in our existence is somewhat of an undefeatable argument when trying to be practical in a response. This school of thought is often in response to people's egocentric view of the events of their own lives. As human beings, we consciously view our lives as a series of events with a narrative through line.
Essence precedes existence, chuckle nuts. Our choices don't matter as our path is predetermined when we exit the womb. Our purpose was assigned to us.
A talking cat!
Every poop you take has been planned out by some crude, unfeeling cosmic entity.
I don't know what you're going on about, but I have a feeling I'm gonna get a cease and desist from at least Hot Diggity Demon or JonTron. Am I gonna go to jail for this?
I learned all this from Shoopity Doop Boop and Tumor.
Of course, our lives aren't films or TV shows we think they can be. We ascribe meaning to events as we go. Being able to ultimately reduce any meaning down to absurdism is an appealing and somewhat comforting viewpoint. After all, how do you really argue with nothing? But Donald is weak in spirit and mind. Mickey counters Donald's weak virgin nihilist argument by calling out his use of absurdism. Mickey asserts that acknowledging the chemicals in our brain does not excuse you from trying to find meaning in life. Donald's argument, while solid, cannot be reasoned with without approaching it in the abstract. Mickey's counterpoint appeals more to emotion than fact, and in this situation is the best response. This image may have introduced millions to existentialism. In the abstract, the content of the image barely scratches the surface of the philosophical argument. Even though Mickey and Donald are the ones engaging in the brief argument, the lingering effect of what they say is more potent because they are the avatars representing the arguments. If you replace the characters with Sartre or Camus, you just get a bunch of philosophers turning into a bunch of soy wojaks. For us consumer chads, we recognize the funny mouse and stupid duck and go, hee hee, ha ha, ho ho, I get it, I know those characters, I recognize those things! I recognize this thing! It's a character from a piece of media! Look at him! Isn't he f***ing cute?
Well, the only thing I know is Hamburger Helper.
Now it's time for Poop Room Platitudes.
When there's darkness, replace it with light. Speaking of which, it's too dark in here. It's still too dark! Still too dark! Yes! Yes! I am basking in the light!
and Mickey being the avatars in this image speak to our modern consumerist reality. Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck are obviously more recognizable than philosophers like Sartre and Camus.
I think Nietzsche would be a better example. More people know who he is, and it reflects his attitudes more accurately than Sartre or Camus. Even then, Sartre isn't even a pessimist. Their debate barely even fits this example.
I don't know who Nietzsche is. I don't care. I don't care what you think.
Sometimes I play with my own poop and I drag it around the house like a ball toy. It's kind of like a bunch of dung beetles playing shit soccer, but really fast, and it gets everywhere.
Even though the author of this meme may have not intended it, many people will associate these ideas to cartoon characters rather than intellectuals in the annals of academic history. While that's more of a sinister side to it, let's look at the positive side of things. The image obviously lacks the nuance of the full philosophical idea, but it's a great argument for memes as educational use. With the hyperreality of the internet, content is constantly consumed, so this meme is great for introducing those to philosophy outside of academia. Assuming that they don't brush this meme off entirely, someone who has no knowledge of these concepts would seek an answer to what this meme is trying to convey, sending them down a philosophical rabbit hole. This could also lead to someone being cognizant of the content they consume online. Most memes are just garbage that are meant to be consumed without any thought. This makes this image one of the most productive memes on the internet, as weird as that sounds. So the next time you share this image, or others like it, however likely that is, remember that you'll be tickling someone's brain. You're gonna be poking them in the fucking brain. Oh, it's violence on the brain. It's violent brain. It's like reading a book. It's violently hurting your brain.
I think we committed enough acts of violence against our audience today. It's time to rest.
Hey, if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe, share it around. There's going to be, 13 more of these videos. So you might as well help a boy out and tell people about it. Word of mouth. Let people know this is cool, this is great. Everyone loves me, and everyone's going to subscribe to me, no matter what. Even if it takes me being violent and very abusive. And I'll hurt you if you don't share this f***ing video.